Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel or podcast. If you're listening, thank you so much for tuning in. You are listening to Thrive with Elsa with me, Elsa. So today I'm going to be speaking all about beauty ideals, body ideals, appearance ideals. I was doing some bikini shopping actually, and I really wanted to speak about this. This was so random. It's literally 8:30 on a Wednesday night. I did not plan on recording anything, but on my walk after doing my bikini shopping, I had so many thoughts. They were literally coming at me from every direction. I was just trying to listen to a podcast and I couldn't even listen because my thoughts were just taking up my brain. Like I couldn't take in any more information. So I thought, because I had all these thoughts in my mind and fresh, and you can see me unpack my own thoughts as it's happening, like live, and that might be interesting to see, because I feel like when I do talk about these subjects, and I am quite passionate about it as well, you don't just see one lens from me. Like I always and constantly playing devil's advocate with my own thoughts, because there are just so many different ways to view a situation. So hopefully this might help you if this is something that's on your mind at the moment. And as it is summer, I feel like our bodies come into our brain more often and more frequently. There was actually a research paper that was published not too long ago now, talking about seasonal body image and how the summer is generally a time when people start to think about their bodies more and negative body image starts to creep in. So if you're going through this time and it's a bit difficult for you, summer usually is that kind of time, because bodies tend to be more exposed as the weather gets hotter. People wear less clothing, and then that brings your attention to what other people look like and to what you look like. So yeah, if you are feeling that negativity around your body and you are having more thoughts about your body in this time, it is quite normal. But hopefully if you're listening or watching this helps you a little bit deal with any thoughts that you are having about your body. So where do we start? Appearance ideals is, I guess, the main topic, and I should probably break that down and what that means and what I'm referring to. So an appearance ideal is basically a beauty standard that's doesn't have to be written anywhere for any of us to actually know what it is. It's being curated and developed through the media, through television, films, TVs, magazines, just our modern culture and in society. We've been brought up to associate a certain kind of body with being attractive and being beautiful and being desirable. And this obviously can change with time, and I'm sure many of you, if you're listening to my YouTube or my podcast right now, you've probably heard the saying that these appearance ideals change like trends do. What used to be deemed attractive 40 years ago isn't the same as what's deemed attractive now. But I think in society in general, it's very much to have no stomach, to have fat in the right places. So you have a bum, you have boobs, but it's more that athletic kind of slim, lean body that we think is attractive and can be attractive. I'm not saying that it's not attractive. It's just what we're very much exposed to. If you are doing online shopping, or if you are watching a movie, the main character is probably going to be lean and attractive. In mass media, what we're exposed to is a certain body type, and yes, that is now changing, which is great to see. There's plus size models. Although there has been a lot of flashback with plus size models for advocating obesity, at the end of the day, there are still people that exist in those bodies, and they have a right to see their bodies as well. For example, when trying on clothes, I think it's very important to be able to see your body on someone else as well, because then you don't feel so alone as well, because then it makes you feel like your body is wrong. And that's why diversity is so important. And again, lots of companies are changing, lots of fashion brands and advertising and movies and TV films and whatever, TV shows, they are changing, but that change is quite slow. And we're still very much massively exposed to a certain body type. And even if you're aware of it, like I am aware of it, I am aware of this body ideal, I am aware that just because there is this type of body that I'm exposed to doesn't make my body wrong for not looking like that, and I can reflect on any negative thoughts that I have based off of viewing bodies that don't match mine and are the typical body and are also being associated with positive qualities. I still am subject to those moments where negative body image does creep in, or some irrational thoughts do creep in, because it's very hard. Even if you're doing the internal work, you're still put in an environment which is the same, which is still advocating the same thing, that thinner and leaner and more athletic and more petite is more beautiful and more pretty. So it's kind of like you're battling what the environment is telling you and advocating for. So then, it's just this constant internal battle, and that can be very tiring and very exhausting. Mental health is a spectrum. Obviously, you can be feeling really great sometimes and maybe not so well. So depending on where you lie on that spectrum, sometimes it can really affect you. So what I was thinking when I was doing my bikini shopping, I actually found it really hard to visualize what my body would look like in these bikinis. And yes, as I said, there is some change in that. Yes, you do see models in larger bodies, but this is typically just plus size models, and I'm not exactly plus size. I'm just not your average size 6, size 8. I'm just a bit slightly heavier. So it's like, where are those in between people? Because we know that they exist. We know there's thousands and thousands of girls that don't have a size 6 petite lean body. So where are they? Why am I not seeing them? And so I was just scrolling through these bikinis, really just struggling to think what would suit me, what would look nice on me, and trying to adjust everything that I saw. I was just trying to see my body, and it's just hard to visualize. I know that they look good on the typical body, but how is it necessarily going to look on me? And this is something that I was thinking about. That did make it hard for me to select what I was going to buy. And beauty ideals play a role in so many different ways when you're online shopping, or just in terms of your body image in general. And it's not even just that you can compare your body to the ideal. I think that's the common thing that we hear about appearance ideals, is that you will compare yourself to this ideal, and if you don't match that ideal and what you feel like you should look like, then you're not going to accept your body. And I guess that is a truth for many of us. There's this ideal, I don't match that ideal, so I don't like the way I look. And again, it comes back to that battle between, even if you do the internal work, the external environment is supportive of the belief that this leaner body is more attractive. So how can you sit here and accept your body into that category of attractive, because you've already associated one body type with this definition of beauty and attractiveness and desirability, because we're not exposed to anything different. It's hard to imagine yourself as desirable or attractive, because you're not, no one's telling you that your body can also be attractive and desirable. So that is one part of the challenge, where it's like, okay, so here's this truth in society, and if this truth is actually true, then how can I look at myself and accept myself for the way I look? And obviously, this appearance ideal and this societal truth is not a truth, and this is the danger of this mass media exposure, because we're repeated to the same message over and over again, that what else are you meant to believe other than that it's true? So if you're sitting here and you do exist in a larger body than the typical size 6, size 8, and you're wondering why it's so hard to accept the way that you look, maybe that's something that will maybe be a little light bulb moment for you, because it definitely was for me. It's like, well, now I know why I'm struggling so hard to accept myself, because even though I've done all this inner work, I still look at the world and I'm not being shown what I'm trying to make myself believe, because you are worthy, you are attractive, you are desirable. That's all mindset. It's all to do with your body image, and something that I remind myself and other people when I talk about this whole mindset thing is that your body in the space of 2 hours probably won't change physically, but how you feel about yourself can change drastically. You could wake up in the morning, love what you see, the next morning maybe nothing's changed, but you wake up and your thoughts are just different, and so you see your body differently. Your actual perception of yourself is altered by your thoughts, but your body hasn't changed. So this is where I'm saying where your confidence, your attractiveness, your desirability, and your positive body image is all to do with your mind and how you perceive yourself. So if I reel this back into these attractive ideals and how you might compare yourself to an ideal and think negatively of yourself because you don't match that. Another way in which these beauty ideals were affecting me, it was actually distorting my perception of my own body. So not even my opinion when I compare myself to the ideal. And by distortions, the most common way that people feel distorted with their body, like something, body dysmorphia is the like clinical diagnosis, but before we get to body dysmorphia, the actual diagnosis is just the day-to-day general things that aren't so drastically impacting your life, just perceptual distortions on how you perceive your body. A lot of people tend to view their bodies as larger than they actually are. But for me, I used to be like that a few years ago. No matter how much weight I lost, I would always see my stomach as being bigger than it was. I would always see myself as being too big, even though I was nothing. Like, I had lost a lot of weight. So that's one way. But interestingly, now the way that these beauty ideals are impacting my perception of my body is that I perceive myself to be smaller than I am. When I try to imagine my body from an observer's point of view, I imagine myself in all the right angles and just being smaller, just being a bit more sucked in. And then I do see myself and I'm like, oh, yeah, you don't quite look like that. And I just think that's really interesting because obviously it used to be the reverse, and most of the time you do hear of the problem being that people see themselves as larger than they are. But the way that beauty ideals are affecting me right now is just making me think that my body is just this, like, and I use the word perfect, but being leaner isn't perfect. It's just, again, how we've associated leanness with this, like, perfect body. Then yeah, because I do imagine myself as being this leaner and more toned version of myself, which I'm not actually. I look in the mirror or I try on these bikinis and I'm like, well, this isn't actually what I thought it was going to look like. It feels like a punch in the gut because it's like, well, I've been walking through life quite happy and quite content and quite confident in my body, but only because I'm imagining myself as smaller than what I actually am. And again, this is so dependent on the person and how much self-worth that you put on your weight and your appearance. And over time, I'd like to think that I've become less of that person. But again, it is the summer and my life is changing quite drastically. There's a lot of uncertainty in my life and things with relationships and boys and all these events in my life tend to make me think about my body more. And as I said, it's summer, I'm going to be going on holiday, my body is going to be on show, so obviously I'm thinking about those things a lot more. I was going on a bit of a tangent, but then I also came to this realization that while I was searching for this, like, okay, perfect bikini, what's going to suit me, on my walk I was just thinking, well, maybe you're not searching for someone to show you what bikini would suit you and would flatter you. It's kind of like I was hoping for, okay, well, if I keep looking in a way, how do I explain this? It's like I was searching for the body that I do want, but that doesn't even make sense. Anyway, on my walk, I realised that, well, my body is going to be my body regardless of the bikini that I buy. And maybe it's not the fact that there's no bikinis being worn by people that look like me that's not making me want to buy a bikini or not like anything that I see. It's just that realisation of, well, actually, I don't think I'm going to like my body in any bikini anyway, because it's not the bikini that's going to make my body desirable. It's whether I deem my body as desirable or not, because my body will stay the same regardless of the bikini that I'm going to buy. Then it's not a case of well, I need someone to confirm for me that my body's okay. It's just in my head, I need to come to terms with what I look like, and I might not necessarily like it right now, and that's okay, because even people with positive body image will have bad body image days, and that's just inevitable. Like, you're never going to always feel 100% about your body, and that's not what positive body image is about. I don't want to bring this idea that you're always going to love your body if you do the inner work, because you're not. And it's not even the goal. Really is to not have your body on your mind all the time, and to be able to enjoy your life and know your worth, and not let the way that you look or your weight hold you back from other things in your life. You should be able to accept your body and respect it, so you treat it better. You do exercise, you do eat well. Loving your body doesn't mean that you eat junk food all the time and you allow yourself to eat crap and laze around out of self-love. Like, no, self-love is exercising and eating well, but also the flexibility to eat foods that are just for your soul and that make you happy, because you know that life is more than just eating perfectly, which there isn't a thing. Eating perfectly isn't a thing either. And I guess something to say is that even though I'm having these thoughts about my body whilst I'm doing this bikini shopping and thinking, well, actually I don't think I'm going to like my body in these bikinis, and that's fine, because that's just the way I feel at the moment, and that's something I can work on. And I know that some thoughts about my body are irrational, and that, again, okay, what you have to come back to when you are feeling this like negativity, and that the idea that your body is wrong, when that thought arises, you have to remind yourself that they're just thoughts, and thoughts aren't always truth. And even though we have this societal connotation of leanness and attractiveness, doesn't make you not attractive and doesn't make you undesirable or not worthy. And I know it can be hard and challenging, because, as I said, we're told something different, and the message that lean is attractive is way outweighed in terms of how much we hear that compared to, okay, this is a question. How many times are you told health looks different on everybody? And some people, to be healthy, both physically and mentally, not just mentally, but actually physically healthier as well, need more fat on their bodies. Barely, rarely. I'm a fitness professional, and I don't hear that message as much as I hear the message of leanness and attractive. And again, obviously that is a bit of a more indirect. No one's directly saying leanness is more attractive, but as I said, you're hearing it from so many different sources of media and culture in society. So it's like, well, that completely outweighs the health looks different on everyone. And to be healthy and happy, some of you are going to be living in larger bodies, and that's just the way it is, but it doesn't get spoken about enough. So I could be sat here stressing how I wish I could be in a leaner body, and maybe I could just lose weight, but at the same time I know that my healthy and happy is a bit higher on the weight spectrum than the ideal. And there comes a point where you just have to be okay with that, and maybe that comes with growing up and realising that your health and happiness comes before your aesthetic and appearance ideals, because your worth is more than that, you know? And again, that's where it's challenging, because you get put into a place, an environment where other people do place a lot of their worth on their appearance and ideals, because that's just normal in our society. It's very much, if you was to live a very private life away from everyone else, then yeah, perfect, you can roll on with your ideas, but you have to become very resilient and very strong to not be influenced by other people's beliefs and judgments about themselves, because that rubs off on you. If your group of friends are always commenting on their bodies and commenting on their size, then no matter how much inner work you do, as I said, it's going to have some sort of impact on you. There's only so many times that you can reaffirm to not only them but to yourself, because you're just hearing this repeated message, so it becomes very difficult to. So I've gone on so many tangents, and I know I'm rambling, I'm talking quite quickly as well, but yeah, It's hard. There's no right or wrong answer here. These are just my thoughts and what's going on in my head. And I think I might end that there because I'm a bit in a brain fog. To end this in a positive way, I do just want to be that reminder for myself as well as for you guys that your body is not wrong if it looks different to what you think it should look like, and these expectations of what you have for your body. Diversify your feed. Do affirm yourself. Self-affirmations. I don't necessarily go about saying I'm beautiful, I'm this, but it's just the mindset and the thought and the kindness that you have towards yourself that is affirming enough. If you are having negative body image days, try to distract yourself, wear comfy clothes that don't bring your attention to your body, and just know that you're so worthy. You might not be very happy with the way that you look, but your appearance does not stop you from living a very fulfilled life, and it doesn't stop you from loving or being loved. It's summer at the moment, so just try as hard as possible to enjoy your time. I'm going on holiday on Sunday to Greece, and can imagine it being a bit challenging. And that's okay, I'll deal with those challenges as they come, but I'm definitely in a much better place to handle those negative body image days than I was in the past, because I'm not internalizing those negative thoughts. It's just I'm noticing those thoughts, I'm aware of those thoughts, and I reflect on them and I try to let them go, because they don't serve me. So that's why I want to tell you guys that those negative thoughts about your body are not necessarily truth. They might be an indication that other things in your life are stressing you out and you automatically just turn to your body. I'm sending a lot of love. If you're listening on podcast, then please leave a review. You can give it a rating. If you're watching me on YouTube, then again, please subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Follow me on my Instagram, Thrive with Elsa, thrive.with.elsa. Everything will be left in the description and the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time.